So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eazy Conversations. Thanks a lot to everyone who listened to the last episode featuring the homie Matt and I. Hope you enjoyed listening to us debate, make a case for either a Shawshank Redemption and The Godfather as the greatest movie of all time. And let us know what you thought. If you actually ran back any of those two movies, we'd love to hear your takes and see who made the stronger case and which movie you preferred. So now for episode 168 of Eazy Conversations. I'm extremely excited, of course, to be back in the studio virtually with the homie Matt. Say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great day right now. Super happy with last episode. Eric had a lot of fun. Today we're going to have a lot of fun too. Our seasonal NHL episode. I can't wait to get into it, Eric. Very pertinent to what's going on right now. So, why don't you let everybody know what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, same here. We do this episode pretty much every year, like one to start off, to commemorate the start of the NHL season, offer up our predictions, thoughts on the Sens, of course, which will start off there with our Atlantic Division preview, if you will. At the time of recording, we're 2 games into the season for our Ottawa Senators, coming off a first playoff appearance since 2017. It's been a long, arduous journey for us as Sens fans and players, of course. Frustration over the years finally mounted with an appearance against the Leafs in the playoffs in which it was looking rough, Matt. We were down 0-3. Like, are we about to get swept by this team that's kind of consistently had our number in the playoffs? Thankfully, we were able to claw back, get a few wins, offer up a glimmer of hope to the Sens fans, and hopefully build on it coming into this season. So 2 games into the season so far, Matt. What are your thoughts on the Sens, where we're at, and what our outlook is for this upcoming season?
Okay, so my overall thoughts right now on the Sens. So I watched only the third period against the first game. Saw the third period because I was at work. I watched all of last night's game, which would have been the Saturday against Florida game. My thoughts right now are the Sens, hopefully they do what they've done every year, where they don't really start off super strong, but then they build momentum going down the stretch and into hopefully the playoffs. I think the Sens right now are promising, but what I'm seeing right now, promising for down the road, but right now I'm not really liking a lot of the stuff of what I'm seeing, especially some defensemen and some forwards haven't really woken up yet, in my opinion. I'll get into more details later. But right now, I'm a little scared for them because it feels like they're going to have a mediocre start. But I'm confident that they could have a stretch where they're 20-4 or something like that and go on a run and get into a playoff spot. So I'm optimistic, Eric, but right now I'm not liking a lot of things I'm seeing. What about you?
So a 20-4 could be another Hamburglar-esque run we'd be witnessing. History does tend to repeat itself, so that would be something for sure. I hope we can be kind of consistently get a win, get a loss, 2 wins, 1 loss kind of thing. I don't want us to be a super streaky team. To go on a 20-4 stretch would mean that our backs are against the wall again, and it's got to be all gas, no brake. We can't afford to lose anything, which isn't an ideal situation, but I agree with you that our team does have the potential to go on that kind of run for sure. Now, through 2 games, my thoughts are our success is going to hinge on a few things. One, Linus Ullmark. The guy so far is really not instilling confidence in me, in that every shot that seems to come his way, in my mind, it has a chance of squeaking through, which he led in a few tough ones against Florida last night. So I want to see him really find his game, get some confidence going, and get back to maybe his Vezina winning form. I don't know if he can reach those heights again, but if he can be somewhat above average, that's the first thing. So that's where I'll start for us, is the importance of Ullmark. What are your thoughts on him so far and what you'd want to see as well, the goaltending?
Yeah, I just want him to be, like you said, he's been weak. We've let in a lot of goals the last couple of games, and last night, it was tough to watch him play, Eric. I think he's just very below average right now. That shot where he thought he gloved and trickled by him. Now the Sens, this is also a match with the Sens playing good defense and not giving good chances. But I felt like yesterday, these were shots that should have been stopped, and he didn't stop them. So also just focusing on Ullmark, yes, he needs to be much better. I think Allmark will get better. I think listen, it's only the first 2 games. We're doing this based on the first two games. Like, I think he will get better, as will the whole team. Some of the defensemen, hopefully, like really much so. But no, I think he has the potential just to be what we need him to be this year, which is stop the ones that are obvious to stop, and we'll take care of the rest. Because I felt like you look at the score 6-2, and we were a little better than that, except for like the weak goals and the like huge amount of penalties we took. Like that, to me, that's something we should talk about right now: our discipline and all the penalties. But no, I think Allmark right now is not good, but I think he has the potential to be better. Do we entertain the thought of like 1A, 1B goalie, or we have trust? Do we have put our full faith in Allmark, Eric, and we just like see what he can do in the first 10, 12 games and go from there, right?
Yeah, like I would like to see Merlainen get the next start. Now that's not going to happen since it's our home opener tomorrow. So you got to go with Allmark again. But after that, I think win or lose, put Levi in, give him a look, because he has proven that he can step in. And last year when we needed him most, he was getting mostly wins, a few shutouts in there as well. And I had faith in him when he was in nets. And it feels like the team was playing hard in front of him, whereas maybe we're a little too lackadaisical, knowing that, hey, Allmark's back there, he'll bail us out, which has not been the case. Again, like you said, we're only 2 games into the season. It's for sure not panic mode time. Our win against Tampa was super resilient. I think the Sens of 2 years ago lose that game 100%. Down 2-0, 3-1. We don't win that game. Now, I want to highlight a few positives out of the first 2 games. Shane Pinto is going to get paid. I mean, it's kind of stating the obvious right now, but he, through 2 games, looks like has been our best forward, in my opinion. 4 goals, again, obvious, but every shift he seems to be creating opportunity for himself or his line mates, and he's playing on the third line at a pretty much first line centerman caliber, and is showcasing his high hockey IQ, two-way play, and playmaking ability, and scoring ability. So Pinto, huge plus. I'm liking how Dylan Cousins has come out the gate. First full year with us. He's motivated coming off a playoff run out of the doldrums in Buffalo, where there's no light at the end of the tunnel, it seems, for them either. So liking what he's bringing for us. And then on the back end, Sanderson, especially in that first game, is looking like he's taking another step in his development, where he trained hard this offseason. He's got somehow another gear to his game, and I think a lot of offensive flair to show for coming into this season too. So those are my big standouts so far: Pinto, Cousins, and Sanderson. Now around them, there have been some deficiencies. Like I think even though Brady had 3 assists in the first game, a little off in the second. And I want to see him driving offense a little more and taking his time when he has the puck. I feel like as soon as it touches his stick, he's immediately throwing in an area where, sure, maybe there is a chance that a player has their stick on the ice and can one-time it, but maybe make sure before you're just blindly throwing it into an area. I feel like he has done this a lot through his whole career and is still doing it at this stage. So a little more from him. And Stützle, maybe like trying to bring it more to the net. He's still has that pass first mentality when he should try to just score. He scored 39 goals a few years ago. Like, let's try to get back to that form, because we do need him and Brady to be the true line drivers and can't be relying on Pinto to be our main offensive threat.
But what you just highlighted, Eric, which was excellent, by the way, I echo the same thoughts, was the fact that Pinto and them the third line's doing so well. It's good because when our first line finally wakes up, when Stützle and them wake up, it's going to be even better to having 3 lines rolling. Stützle, he needs to be our main guy, like scoring and doing plays. And yesterday, I don't know, he had an off game yesterday, in my opinion, and he just trying to do the too much, bring it back to basics. Granlund's good on that. Not Granlund. Zetterlund's good with them because he's like a bulldog. Like, he'll go dig the puck out and stuff. Like, I had no problem with him. Kind of like Cousins-esque, where he's just like a force out there. But yeah, and our second line with Giroux and I don't know. They'll start clicking eventually. But I just they're not there yet. Like the Pinto line has been our best line, right? Home, Pinto, and Cousins. That was good. Our fourth line too. I mean, we don't expect much from them. Lars Eller, veteran with, I don't know. They're there to just, I guess, do the hard work. And I don't know, Eric. Last time was my first full game I watched, and I was like, all right, I feel like we're still like in everybody like meshing together and being in sync, and it was, I guess, expected in the second game of the season. I see some bright spots, so like you said with Pinto. But like, I just want to talk about what I've noticed in the first two games, the amount of penalties we're taking, and I think if we stay out of the box, honestly, the score is not even close to 6-2 last night, and it's way closer of a game. Allmark makes a couple saves. You know that Marchand doesn't score on his breakaway? Like, that's a completely different game right there. And stay out of the box. And honestly, I think that happens a lot to this end, but I think it will get better. I'm very like, I see a lot of bright spots, and I think they're going to do well this year. Like you said, Sanderson and Chabot even played decent too.
Yep.
Played better than I thought. But I find their partners sometimes, especially Nick Jensen, like, I thought it was brutal in yesterday's game. And Zub was solid, but still got caught in a couple plays. Unusually, he has like 3 points already, I think.
Yep.
Incredible. We're kind of lucky, but Sanderson here looks like one of the best defensemen in the league out there, Eric. So no complaint about that. And then what about Manpolo and Sabrenko? Like, is that a pair you would have, or would you have maybe had Yakimchuk play? Or like, what are your thoughts on the decor in general, Eric?
Dismantle the Sabringo Manpolo pair immediately. Like, one of those guys has to be scratched heading into the home opener. I'm sorry. There's a few reasons that Green gave out to keep those pairs together, in that he wants the pairs to be familiar with each other and doesn't want to introduce like a new player like Jordan Spence in there, where he has never played with Sabringo, who only has a few NHL games under his belt, so wants kind of players who are familiar with one another. I don't care. Like, that's not a good enough reason to keep a pair that every single time they were on the ice, we were pinned in our zone, both games. Especially when they're throwing out the fourth line out there as well. It's just a recipe for disaster. Freddy Krueger chasing us down Elm Street out there. This cannot be a pair that remains together going forward. I would put Jordan Spence in at this point. Like, we just traded a third-round pick away for him. Let's see what he does on the right-hand side, maybe with Sabrengo, who I'm not crazy about right now, but I guess he's our best third option on the left-hand side with Clevin injured. Yakimchuk, honestly, I'm fine with him being sent down to the minors. He'll get better opportunity down there to start the year. Maybe he plays the full year down there, who knows. But I think if injuries occur, you give him a call up immediately and see what he can do, because he'll be more of an offensive spark on the blue line rather than a physical third pair D. So you don't want him playing those minutes. I agree, Chabot had a good first game, second. But again, we have to take all this with a grain of salt. We played Florida last night, who, like, they've been in the finals 3 years in a row and won twice. So they're still, even without Barkov and Tkachuk, still, and they showed it last night, formidable opponent. You don't want to read too much into it, but you're 100% right in those penalties killed us. Greg took a penalty at the end of the, I think, first period that eventually led to the goal by Ekblad, and then to make it 3-1, and then Tkachuk's penalty, which was a moronic penalty in the offensive zone, where I think Sanderson was passing it to Tkachuk once he got free, would have had an open net, tap in, makes it 3-2. What happens instead? They score on the power play that Tkachuk gifted them, makes it 4-1. So those are two key plays you look at, and that's a completely different game. Like you said, the Marchand breakaway, but more the Rodriguez goal, I think, was worse, honestly. Like, Marchand coming down on you on a breakaway, like, the guy's a wizard. There's a 75% chance he's going to bury on a breakaway, right? So there's a few, those are plays you look at, don't love, but still going to look to be. Overall, like, when we look at our chances in the division to make the playoffs, I still think Ottawa can make the playoffs by tweaking a few things, and we've got that hunger now. Brady's experienced winning, like, silver medal at the Four Nations and making it in the playoffs. I think that's going to propel us to want even more, and could go over to the polls that we posted online where people are offering what they feel like is realistic in terms of how many rounds the Sens could win. There's a decent variety here where, one second. So, how many rounds will the Sens win in the playoffs this year? There were 33% people said 0. So I don't know if that implies we miss or make the playoffs and don't win a round. Fair. 22% said we'd win 1 round. 33% said we'd win 2 rounds. And then 11% said we'd win 3 or more. So I think 3 or more, it's aggressive. I think 1 is for sure realistic. And hey, we win 1, why not 2? Like I'm in between 1 or 2 for us, honestly. I think if we make playoffs again, we'll win a round this year. What do you think?
Well said, Eric. I think we'll be fighting for that last spot in the top 3 or finish 7th or 8th. I think we're gonna make the playoffs on the back end, but I think we're gonna be a really hard team to play in that first round because I find we're really well balanced right now. Like you said, the 3 lines, if they start going, we're gonna look good, and we have some strong defensemen too. I don't think the 6 defensemen we see now are going to be the 6 defensemen we see, at the end of the season. Definitely going to be hard to beat in the playoffs. We have one of those super hard working, we go all in type of team, all led by our captain, obviously Kachuk. And I think if Allmark plays just average, I hope he plays above average, but even if he's just stopping everything he needs to, that's all we need. We gave the Leafs a little scare at the end last year, so it's promising. Guys like Pinto, if a guy like Pinto is playing the way he is and he's on the 3rd line, I think if the other 2 lines click, we're going to be humming. And Lars Eller is very serviceable as a 4th line center from what I've seen so far. Yeah. And then pickups along the way, who knows, right? The big question mark at the beginning of the season too was scoring. Can Ottawa score? This year, and I feel like yesterday's game was a little tough because it's against Florida. They're amazing, and we didn't get that many power plays either to showcase all that. So I don't think scoring is going to be that much of a problem. We did well against Tampa Bay, so imagine Stützle starting to roll right now, and that'd be incredible. But I see Ottawa, Eric, as 3rd place division or 7 and 8 spot. No higher than that. Or do you agree with that, or do you think higher?
I mean, I feel like we could with Florida with their big injuries. I think the top 3 is a bit more wide open, but we would need to really have, like you said, a run of stringing together a lot of wins, and then banking on a few of those teams struggling a bit, which we can now get into. I do think, in saying that the Atlantic is open, there's a lot of teams who are in the similar spot as us who are fighting for movement upwards. And one of those teams is Montreal, which I do feel like we should give them more credit than I guess I have given them in the past, where I've always been hypercritical of them, saying they're overachieving. This is unsustainable. I watched most of their games so far. They've played 3, and they've looked pretty good from what I've seen. They almost beat Toronto in the home opener and then destroyed Detroit, and then they got a big win last night against Chicago. So that's 2 teams that are relatively easy to beat in there, and then you got Chicago, which is an automatic dub. But I think that Montreal, with their youth movement, they're right there with us, where I think we'll still finish above them, but they're going to be right with us all year, with Suzuki looking like a legit number 1 center now. Caulfield has definitely arrived and has more two-way game than people have given him credit for. They just saw him as an undersized guy who can shoot the puck really well. I think he's more than that. And then Slavkovsky, if he really becomes a Rantanen-esque player, I don't think he'll reach that ceiling, but if he can be a 70-point power forward, that's great. And then Demidov is an X factor for them too, which I think he'll still need a bit of time to adjust to the league. But if he becomes they say he's a Kucherov kind of player. So I don't necessarily love that Montreal has a Kucherov, but if he does become that, that's a massive weapon. Hudson, now they went out and traded for Dobson, and Bolduc is scoring at will, it seems. So they've got some juice to that lineup. other players I don't love, but I think they do deserve some respect. And what are your thoughts on Montreal so far going into the year?
Montreal scares me a little, Eric, because they're kind of like Ottawa, but I find they have more scoring power right now. No, I think Montreal is going to be surprise a lot of people. They have like Montreal, just that the name Montreal, like you would like the fans are going to propel the team even more just playing in Montreal, and they're going to give them a boost. And they like kind of like being the underdogs in the sense that people don't think they're going to do as well as they're gonna, and I think they're going to do really well this year. Perhaps even finish above Ottawa is my prediction. Just because I find like that first line is like I don't think our first line is as good as their first line. And for what I've seen so far is they're scoring lots. So yeah, I think they're going to do really well, Eric. Their decor, I don't know. It looks like I don't know. Our decor on paper should be so much better than the first two games of what I've seen. But Montreal has a solid decor too. I think Montreal does well when they have teams like they have right now, where it's not like they're not supposed to finish first or anything, but they're going to have a young, promising team, kind of like Ottawa. I put Detroit in there too. Like they should be doing really well, but who knows? I think one of those teams out of Ottawa, Montreal, and Detroit, one of those teams is going to fail, and then one is going to do better than expected, and one is going to do exactly what they should be doing. So I'm hoping Detroit is the one that fails, and then I think Ottawa is going to be doing exactly what they should be doing, and Montreal is going to bat above their average. Montreal is going to finish way above where they should finish, and maybe they'll be they're going to falter in the playoffs because they're going to finish too high and they're going to be overconfident. But Montreal scares me right now. They're looking really good. You know, they're on the up and up, Eric, as opposed to Toronto, where I think Toronto's on the decline. You know, maybe not like steep decline this year, but they're on the slow decline for sure.
Yeah, and we can get into Toronto. I know we're maybe brushing off Montreal a little quicker than some Habs fans listening would like, but we still gave them a good tire pump. And now we can go over to the ones who have kind of dominated the Atlantic from our Eastern Canadian quadrant, if you will, the Leafs, who pretty much since they've won the lottery in 2016 to get Austin Matthews, they've made the playoffs since then. So they're on almost like a 10-year run of sustained success. Defining, again, that depends on how you define success, really. Is making the playoffs and losing the first round every year good enough? Maybe, but they've done well for themselves. Like, they've been a competitive team since then, so props there. But at some point, that kind of run of success does have to come to an end, right? Like, as these teams like Ottawa, Detroit, Montreal, like, we are on the rise, and we've started to see, like, Boston, who right now is 3-0, they're going to come back to reality. But Toronto could be that next team, which, with the loss now of Marner, that's the obvious big storyline for them all year. How are they going to look without Marner feeding Matthews and everyone else? I feel, from what I've seen anyways, their power play looks drastically different and not as efficient through a few games anyways. They are missing, I feel like, his quarterbacking abilities. For me, the biggest storyline now is, like, when do the fans turn on Matthews, right? Like, he's the next guy now that they're going to set their sights to if things don't go right. Because for some reason, and I guess I get it, he has shown up more in the playoffs, but Nylander is like the guy can do no wrong. As Marner said about players in Toronto, he is a literal god out there. Like, he can do whatever, like, he gets a pass. Tavares making now like $4 million. They have no right to be upset at whatever he does. Like, he's a $4 million player. Anything he does is above average at this point. Nyes, he's kind of he's their Buzz Lightyear, basically. Like, and I think Matthews could be the Woody. Now we'll see what happens there. But that's kind of my call, is if things don't go well, he's the next whipping boy, and we've kind of started to see it in the playoffs where he has had a few tough years in the offs, and now with Mitch gone, he'll be the one carrying the load in terms of criticism from the media. So I'm interested to see how that looks for them and what he does. Really, like, his health is also a huge factor. So that's kind of my take on their big dogs. and then it's seeing if all these little depth additions that they did, like adding a Nick Roy, Dakota Joshua, is this just another case of Leafs media overhyping the guys they've brought in, which they've done in the past with Tyler Bertuzzi, 70 points playing on the top line, Max Domi, genius. Like we've seen this song and dance before.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Leafs? Like, do you think downslide is coming, or?
I think we're going to see the foreshadowing of a downslide this year. The downslide, they're still going to be competitive this year, make the playoffs, but we're going to see like a Leafs team that's not as elite as in the past, where they were kind of dominating the regular season before. I'm going to see a Leafs team where there's going to be so many question marks at the end of the year. Like, yes, we made the playoffs, we made the first round and lost. That's my prediction. But there's going to be so many question marks that there's going to be maybe drastic changes to come. This will be the season of the Leafs that's going to be like an eye-opener to like, okay, like we need to do something here because we don't want to be in a situation where like we hit rock bottom. We want to fix the problems now. So it's going to be a very important season for the Leafs. Also, like Stolar's his first like full season as full-time goalie. Yeah. I don't think he's ever – this will be like the true test for him. I think the Leafs are still a dangerous team. I wouldn't want to play against. Like, they're going to be hard to play against. But, like, there's definitely cracks and chinks in the armor, and they're going to be picked apart a lot of the night. Like, some nights are going to be picked apart. Like, I'm surprised they got pumped 6-3 by Detroit, but am I that surprised after hearing what you just said, Eric, and all that? So, it's going to be an interesting year for Toronto. They're used to, like, cruising in the regular season, Marner getting 100 points or so, but it's going to be fun to see. I don't wish for injuries, but, like,
no.
Injuries happen every year, right? And the Leafs are going to have some injuries, but if it happens to a couple of their key players, they're going to be really, like, in trouble right now. And what is Matthews going to do in his first season without Marner, right? That's huge right there. That's, like if, let's say, Draisaitl, McDavid. Well, we've seen with injuries that those players are fine without the other one. But, it's going to be very interesting. Well, the Leafs, there's like a freaking sniper scope on them every year with, like, how closely they're watched and observed. And, man, it must be a tough city to play, and I wouldn't want that. And,
100%.
Yeah, we're going to see that. We're going to see that fun runaway train this year possibly, or just mediocrity, which to them mediocrity is not like what they wish, right? They want to be the best all the time. So it'll be fun to watch. I can't wait to see the first Ottawa-Toronto game.
Oh, same here. And I think that Nyes is another one who kind of is going to fall under that microscope too, with him looking so good in the playoffs, like against us. He was phenomenal. I can't hate on Nyes, like the guy, he took a good deal as well, but he's now going to be the guy who steps into that Marner role where he's in the new core four player that they think highly of, right? So we'll see what he does on that top line. A lot of opportunity, first power play, but again, no Mitch for him as well. So we'll see what he's able to bring to the fold as well. Stolarz, I completely agree to. Like, he had a by the numbers fantastic year last season, but again, not shouldering a full starter's load. So we'll see what he's able to do. And yeah, in terms of like where the Leafs end up in the standings, I think it could go either way. Like, they'll most likely, they're still a top 3 team in the Atlantic. Like, it can't be just like ignorant to say that they're going to drop out of the top 3 and that we're saying Montreal are going to pass them. No, but I don't think they're the best team in the Atlantic, even with the injuries to Florida. I think I like Tampa up front more than Toronto, and just, they're 0-2 right now. Like, they got dogs up there. They have won before. Florida, same thing for them. Then us, Montreal. Detroit, like, I don't really believe they'll make the playoffs, honestly. Like, there's just too many teams in the Atlantic at this point. I don't think it's their time yet. Buffalo, like, bottom again, last place in the division. But it's going to be an interest in Boston. Like, again, they started off hot, but that team on paper is just, this is not a good team, in my opinion anyways. But we'll see where it goes. What I want to see at the end of the year, though, is, again, another opportunity for redemption. I'd love a Battle of Ontario. Like, I could see us finishing, like, 3rd place, maybe in Toronto 2nd, and then we face off against one another. Or if I don't know if this would really be possible, but an Ottawa Montreal playoff series, I would love that. What are your thoughts on either of those? Which one did you prefer?
I would prefer an Ottawa Montreal, honestly. I think historically we do well against Montreal. I think Montreal would be annoyed to play us, and they'd be like, "Oh, here we go." And I just want to start off by saying Ottawa, I think, would match well against Toronto or Montreal. I'd like to see the Montreal matchup more. It'd be super exciting. I think we can take both those teams out.
Mm-hmm.
A rematch matchup against Toronto. I think this is where we finally break the curse. I think Ottawa would be super motivated. I hate the fact that both those teams in Ottawa is not really an away game for them. That's the only downfall. I think Ottawa's going to show a lot of heart this year, and then leading into the playoffs, it's going to be we know what happened last year. We're not letting that happen this year type of mentality. And we have a lot of grit and hard work on our team right now. We have a lot of, we're a heart, like I just said. And yeah, I'm predicting, like I said, they can win that. If they make it to the first round of the playoff, they can win that first round based on their experiences from last year. I definitely think we can take both those teams out, Eric. I'm very confident. Yeah, it'd be interesting to revisit what we just said right now, and once the season's over, and if we share the same thoughts, we'll do a playoff preview episode hopefully. But yeah, which matchup would you prefer, Eric?
So I want some redemption with Toronto, honestly, because I do think we can take them. Montreal, kind of like you, they scare me for some reason. I do think we could beat them, but I feel I don't know, there's some sort of X factor around them where I don't love, there's a lot of guys on that team I don't love, like a Doc, Josh Anderson, Gallagher, how much of these guys still have in the tank, but I don't know, they're just, it's also the Bell Center factor, right? I feel like playing in that arena, those fans truly feed life and energy into the players, and they capitalize on it, which you don't get that in Toronto. So I'll just say, before we have a few callers just lining up right now, which love to see it, but I went to 2 playoff games against the Leafs, and in the game 4 was one of the best games I've ever been to in my life. Andy and I were going insane in the nosebleeds, just cheering. We won that game too. And then Zach and I went to game 6 where we lost ultimately, and we stayed till the end on our feet cheering "Go Sens Go" for 10 minutes after the game had ended. When you saw how the Leafs went out against the Florida Panthers, they were booing their team off the ice, jerseys on the ice, just absolute loser behavior. And that's where, again, you play Toronto, you get those kind of fans cheering for you. You play the Habs. Well, yeah, they're also volatile and can be crazy as well. At least they give more life. Shout out Drake, I guess, to their team. But we got a Leafs caller who we'll get to after. But first we'll go over to my guy Mike Martins from Winnipeg, actually. So I'll give him a shout now. And maybe get some different perspective in here from a Central Division team. Mike, how's it going, man?
Hey, buddy. Going good. How about you?
Doing great. So we just did a little preview of the Sens, Montreal Canadiens, and Toronto Maple Leafs. And now we'd like to hear your insights as a Winnipeg Jets diehard fan. And anything that you'd want to share with the people on here, we're happy to indulge with you. So what do you got for us?
Oh, awesome. Love it. Hey, happy to be on the pod. Just diving right into it here, so I love it. But the Winnipeg Jets, they're still a great team. A lot of people maybe don't give them the credit they deserve, which is a very Winnipeg trait here. See him on the pod here.
Hey, let's go.
All right.
Here. Got the Jays hat on, so we're ready to rock for Sunday. This is still a great team. This is there was maybe more optimism last year. We came off the President's Trophy win. Expectations were high. Haven't had that playoff success yet, but there hasn't been a lot of turnovers on the defense this year. We still got the reigning MVP in net. The decor hasn't changed at all, so we're a little banged up to start the year, but I think there's still a lot of juice in the tank here to make the playoffs and make a deep run here.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like my only concern is up front. I feel like I don't know about the depth on the Jets side and Hellebuck too. Like the guy is just an absolute workhorse for you guys. Is he overworked? Is kind of my question as someone who has him in fantasy hockey. Like at some point, are the wheels gonna fall off for the guy, or do you believe that he's still someone who should be getting like 60 some starts? With like again Dylan Sandberg out on defense, I think that hurts a bit as well. Do you have full belief on that standpoint for Hellebuck after his playoff performances as well?
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it this whole time here. Like, he's been the guy. We've never really had a 1A, 1B setup here with them, so it's all we really know. But the success hasn't been there in the playoffs. Maybe that is a factor. Not 100% sure. He seems like, it's kind of up to him is how it seems like from the perspective. Like, I think the coaches kind of lean on him a lot to say, how's the body feeling and all that. So would we like to see less? I think the modern NHL is more of that 1A, 1B kind of style. But, there's a few of those guys in the league, the Shesterkins, guys that just go every night, right? So it's hard to say. We'll see how it goes. I think they did want to bring his games count down under 60 this year. I think the coach had said preseason. So we'll see. I feel like anytime he's in net, we have a chance to win, though. So, we need to rack up all the W's we can. And if he's our best guy in net, then I say we ride him.
I know. Well said. I agree. Matt, anything for Mike on the Jets front? Any questions for him? He's our resident expert.
No, just like every year I see the Jets do well in the regular season, and I'm confident again they're going to make the playoffs, of course. But like you said, do they have the depth, Mike? Are they going to do well? What's it going to take for them to get the monkey off their back in the playoffs and go farther in? Is it going to be key third or fourth liners at the trade deadline, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think that depth scoring is huge. It's something that we have a lot of fan favorites on the third and fourth line, the guys have passed, like Brandon Tanev. Guys are just running around out there, laying out the body. We don't get a lot of scoring from guys like that, right? So I think you can get someone who plays well on the defensive side of the puck, can also put it in, at key times is huge. For us, the PK is always something that it's always been a struggle. Like last year, the power play got going well, but I feel like we've never been that top-tier elite penalty kill team, and it seems like untimely penalties really cost us, some key opportunities as well. But yeah, I'd say that. I'd say, off the ice, there was a lot of things last year. There was all the media around, Scheifele's dad passing away before that last game against Dallas. Emotions were high that way. I think Helly had some personal deaths in the family as well. So there was, talk that he was kind of really, kind of rattled by that too, in that St. Louis series. So, there's always external factors that play. These are humans. These are people who deal with real things off the ice. So, it's hard to pin down one specific thing. But I think, yeah, like you said, the depth, the PK would be huge for this club.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that a lot. And hopefully Perfetti can get back to playing soon as well. He's someone I was looking at, could maybe take another step with Ehlers gone. So hopefully you can get to see him on the ice again. Help out on the special teams, maybe. I'm not sure. But, Mike, this was a lot of fun to have you on. Thanks for calling in. And I'll give you a shout-out, too. This was your suggestion to have a call-in feature on the pod. So glad we've implemented it. And we'll get to our next caller now. But, no, thanks a lot for tuning in. And, we'll chat soon.
All right. Thanks, boys.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers. See ya, Mike. All right, so first live caller on the pod. Now we're going to get to our next one, which would have been perfect since we just did our Leafs breakdown and had a feeling that he'd want in on this when we had a call-in for this episode. So I'll just give our, also resident Leafs expert who's been on the pod multiple times at this point. Now, saying what's up to the man himself as I just gave him an intro, the homie Justin Mocktinger. Say what's up to the people.
How's it going, viewers? Long time no speak. How's it going, Matt? Long time no speak. I think the background of your computer contrasts with my jersey I'm wearing. We told each other during our series last year we wouldn't talk to each other, but someone kind of broke that rule because he forgot Game 1 playoff rules are different from Game 5, Game 6.
Had to, man. It was a good series. We did talk about it before you joined there, but yeah, no. What are your kind of thoughts? Well, actually, did you have a question for us coming in on the pod, or what were you thinking about the Leafs to talk about with us?
A little bit of both. I mean, honestly, I think right now is the start of a brand new hatred era of the Battle of Ontario. I think, obviously, with my team being as dog, you know what, for a long time after the original Battle of Ontario, then once we finally got good, you guys unfortunately kind of went downhill. So it looks like we're finally, for as long as we can be kind of up there in that top 3 in the Atlantic Division. How I've missed it. I think of all the playoff series growing up as a kid, my favorite always was against the Sens, and I mean results probably are part of the reason for that. But I think there's just geographically, like that battle there, it's natural, when you got two teams in sort of the same area, there's a reason why during the preseason this year, everyone's talking about how the Battle of Florida is going to be. I mean, I personally can't wait. I hope they each destroy each other. They take 500 penalty minutes a game and weaken themselves up, so in case either of our teams have to face them, that they're nice and soft and ripe for the picking.
So speaking of right and soft and right for the picking, the Atlantic Division, which you and I had a quick conversation about this, where you mentioned that the Leafs are a tier above the Sens, Detroit, Montreal, and then I said that, hey, you may find yourself in that tier before you know it. I mean, I don't think it's that crazy to say that while we are, yes, we're fighting, we're not where the Leafs are yet, we are rising, and are you guys maybe starting to fall a bit? Do you think that could be possible now with, obviously, like, it's a big hole losing Marner, but you've replaced him elsewhere in the lineup with some depth pieces like Michelli, Joshua, Roy. What are you thinking about the Leafs in terms of sustained success? Do you still think you're a clear-cut top 3 team in the Atlantic?
Yeah, I know I was kind of trolling you a little bit earlier there, but honestly, I know this might be a bit of a cop-out answer, but it's to be determined. Like, I mean, as much as towards the end of his tenure, all of us got really sick and tired of 16 and his magician act in the playoffs, especially as the going got tough, and you faced a team like Florida, a Tampa during their heyday, when they had Perry and former Sen Nick Paul, who wouldn't be afraid to muck it up, anytime it got mucky and dirty, him and kind of the rest of the core 4 that era weren't exactly those kind of players. So I think with Brad Treliving, Craig Berube, they're trying to maybe instill some of that into everyone, even sort of with this new core of Matthew Nye sort of being elevated up to not exactly where Marner was point-wise, but maybe if we could take maybe a step down there, but improve the defensive game, improve the toughness aspect, we'll see. I mean, probably skill-wise, obviously, we're hoping Matthias Michelli can maybe be 75% of what offensively what Marner was at like a quarter of the cost, while also, developing that depth with Nick Waugh and Dakota Joshua. Now, speaking on the Sunday after both our teams sadly got destroyed last night by Atlantic Division opponents, one a little bit more respectable to be destroyed than the other. Results are kind of a mixed bag right now. I think we're trying to see who fits where, who gels with who. And hey, as much as I also trolled you guys before, I think Ottawa, I'd have to probably say of like that's maybe that tier of like
sort of next generation of being consistent top three finishers in the Atlantic Division. I would still probably say they're ahead of, a Montreal. Detroit has never done anything. Buffalo is a continuous joke, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck decide to go elsewhere, and Rasmus Dahlin decides to maybe go to another team with a Swedish connection, which, I mean, both our teams kind of have those, so who knows? My team's kind of barren assets, but I mean, hey, if you guys want to rob them of one more player like you did with Dylan Cousins, we'll see what Craig Adams and his lack of maybe experience has to say there. But if I had to maybe pick one team that maybe falls out of that top three right now, and it gets replaced with one team, as much as I hate to say it, I think it's Ottawa who would probably go into that top three. And honestly, you can make an argument for either Toronto, Tampa, or Florida falling out. Florida, though, more so in that they're unique in that they can basically pick and choose where they want to go, and they're kind of going to be where they decide to go because they're just that deep and that good. Tampa, I honestly find, ever since Stamkos kind of lost a step and they decided to mess around with him, I honestly don't see them as a threat. Like, people picking them to win the division, they're going to get like a first round, like whoever they face, they're gonna just walk all over. I honestly think they're a paper tiger, which might be rich coming from a team who's won 2 playoff series during their so-called golden era that they're in right now. But then again, when you're also the first team to lose to said team, I think that's kind of maybe where the cracks have developed. And can you really consider yourselves a cup contender when you lose to a team who hadn't won a playoff series since you and I were 10 years old, I want to say, and Matt, you were only maybe 12 or 13 at the time, so there's definitely something missing there. And then for my team, I mean, who knows? I mean, Scott Lawton goes down with an injury, and all of a sudden now we can't figure out what to do with the lineup. Do we put Michelli with Matthews and Nyes? Do we put Domi there? Do we put Cowan in the lineup? We still haven't put him in the lineup. We haven't gotten a look in to see if he needs more time in the AHL, or he can swim with the big fish in the NHL kind of thing. So we'll see sort of where that goes. But I think a certain red and black team a little further east of where we are, they have some good pieces, as much as I hate to admit it. And I honestly think if Ullmark can be more Boston Ullmark and less maybe trying to figure out who he is in Ottawa Ullmark before he kind of hit it off, I think we got Pesky Sen's 2.0 problem, but with more talent up front. Just tell your guys, though, when they want to start some stuff to not turtle and drop the mitts. Pizzetta's, if we need to call Pizzetta up and have him drop the gloves with a certain 21 or 71, tell them to keep their heads out of the shell. That's all I'll say.
Well, that's why we brought in Curtis McDermott, of course. And we got number 7, too, who's never been shy to let it fly out there. But, Matt, do you have a final question for Justin?
Just, do you have any concerns with Stolarz and Nets? I haven't watched a lot of the Leafs game, but are you confident in your goalie this year?
Stolarz, yeah, the biggest question with Stolarz is honestly his health. He's never played, I think, more than 35, 40-ish games. And to be fair, most of that for a long time, he wasn't really given that opportunity to be that one or even that 1A. He's behind Bobrovsky during the cup runs, but before that, he was in Philly, which isn't exactly a goalie haven over the years. He was in Edmonton for a bit, and I think they were bouncing him around, and it took him a while to really become who he was last year, but he took that opportunity and ran with it. Right now, given Woll is mysteriously MIA and we have no idea when he's going to return because the front office doesn't want it getting out there. They really want it hush-hush. He better be healthy because, hey, like any team, you remove their number one goalie and things are going to fall. But if he can stay healthy, I have all the confidence in the world in him. Like, dude is a brick wall, 6'6", 240 pounds, like just kind of standing there. He takes up a lot of the net, and the team has really shifted their focus from, we're going to beat you 7-6 to we're going to beat you 2-1. Like, they really invested in building a heavy, solid, defensively responsible D-core. The forwards they brought in, minus Michelli, are pretty defensively responsible. So there is sort of that shift in that, dare I say, we're trying to mold ourselves into the 2019 St. Louis Blues, but with an upgraded Ryan O'Reilly and, funny enough, an upgraded David Perron on the wing. We'll see where that goes, though, because those guys back in the day also weren't afraid to shed their mitts if need be, and 34 and 88, you don't have to, but it wouldn't hurt you to, find someone in your weight class or a little below and drop the gloves, or just something to know that the other team can't mess with you. So if it's a Battle of Ontario, you're not going to have 21 or 71 throw you off your game. So, and hey, when the heavy comes in, this one actually can fight, unlike a certain number 7 or 17 that you guys had, who you sent to New Jersey. Because that guy, man, I think every fight he got in, no matter who it was, would always eventually be figure skating, because the guy was throwing him around or chucking nuts at him, and dude was just a punching bag for the real heavyweights in the league. And do you really want Brady fighting every battle? We know he can, but game 44 in the season, do you need him dropping the gloves with insert player on the other team, or do you want him dropping the gloves to set the tone in a game 2 or a game 4 in a playoff series when it really matters? So
would be the latter for me for sure. But no, thanks a lot, Justin, for the rundown. Hopefully, like we said before you joined, I would love to see your team again in the playoffs, a little redemption for us, and see where that goes. But no, I'm sure it'll be super competitive this year. I'm excited for the season, and I think it'll be again, every game's going to matter a lot. No easy outs, and look forward to playing your team regular season, and then again, hopefully playoffs. But yeah, man, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll chat throughout the season, no doubt, and come playoff time, we'll get you back on here for a preview. We'll see how it goes. But thanks a lot, Justin, and we'll chat later, man.
Appreciate the call. Enjoy the pod. Keep it up, guys, and of course, as always, go Leafs.
All right, we're out of here. All right, see you, man.
Thank you, Justin.
All righty, so thank you, Justin. Now we'll get to the next caller. All right, so see who's next. But yeah, no, again, always gives a glowing breakdown of his Leafs, but also has some realism in there, in that he has faced a lot of adversity, as Leaf fans have for all these past years. Now hopefully we can get a palate cleanser here with another Sens perspective. See who is able to join us here. Otherwise, we'll have to cut this. But this is why you come to the YouTube, folks. You get the unedited version of the pod. Oh, here we go.
Yo!
Now, it's a ball pod now.
Coming out of the shower.
Okay.
I go listen to music, music starts going, oh, shit, here we go.
All right, man, we'll go audio only here. So yeah, we got the homie Zach Saloom joining us here.
All right.
For a little NHL season preview. So what do you got for us, Zach? What would you want to talk about heading into this season, through a few games, or just anything to monitor for the year?
I think it's going to be the most, not entertaining, but no clear-cut leader. Trying to think of the right word to use there, but just, it seems like everyone's going to be competitive and no one's going to run away with it. We're not going to see a clear-cut President's Cup winner. I think in every division we're going to see a lot of teams fighting for those 1, 2, possibly 3 spots in all their respective divisions, which is exciting as a fan, because I feel in past years we'll usually be seeing one team running away, possibly the 2 spot locked in halfway, if not 3/4 into the year, then it's really just a fight for the bottom. But I think this year we're going to see in every division fights from the start of the year to the end of the year to finalize all those 4 playoff spots in each division.
Yeah, no, I could see that for sure. I think that there's a lot of parity. Like we went over the Atlantic so far, where like there's like 5 6 teams that could be anywhere in the mix there. Even the Metro for me is kind of a question mark. Like, are the Rangers gonna bounce back? Are the Islanders with Schaefer? Like, I don't really believe that that's a playoff bound team, but like anything can happen. And then it's like I look at the Central, Utah on the rise. All those other Central teams are still good though. Like I don't see St. Louis, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado like falling off. So it could all just be like everyone maybe has 5 or so less points than last year and it's split a little more evenly. And then Pacific, you got all these teams who have been accumulating draft picks and are bound to take that next step at some point. Like Anaheim, are they gonna make a push and become a playoff team? Who knows? Like, any thoughts on any of those teams, Matt or Zach? Anybody interests you in there that has been out of the playoffs and could jump in and disrupt things a little?
Yeah, I can
Go ahead,
start. First one, when you touched on the Metro, I was talking about this with my roommate yesterday. The Metro, I feel like, is hands down the worst division right now in the sense that I have no idea who's going to come out on top there, and I don't know who's going to be coming from the bottom. I mean, yeah, the Islanders with Schaefer is a great addition. Obviously, guys looking like a stud after 2 games. But I don't know if that's enough to push them into a playoff contention. You did mention a good team, though, in Anaheim that's really interesting because they could be sort of the Ottawa of the West, where for a long time they were kind of shit and just getting draft picks. They're like, all right, this year could be their year where they're breaking out. Never really happened. Well, I see it like this year could be the year where they're back in the playoff spot with the emergence of these young guys. Their D-core has a lot of young potential that are taking big strides. You're looking at Lacombe. We'll see if Zellweger can swing up even more. But other veteran guys as well that have been not progressing, but just helping the young core progress, I should say. And then you also got up front a lot of weapons that, if they start getting more consistency, coming in on a power play where you're going to see a lot of their skill come through and just pick off a few games because, San Jose is still way too young. They're not going to make a move this year. At least that's my belief. So Anaheim really has that potential because I think that Vancouver, we might see an implosion after a tough start.
Interesting. What are your thoughts, Zach, on Edmonton? I'm curious, like, with the whole McDavid only signing for 2 years and, like, basically the 2 make it or break it years to see if he's going to remain. Like, do you think Edmonton's going to dominate this year? And do you see possibly a team like LA, like, doing even better than they did last year, like finishing higher up, and Dallas and Colorado not doing as well? Like, what are your thoughts on that division, basically?
So, I think you couldn't have been blessed with a better contract by Connor McDavid for Edmonton in the sense that everyone will be, and nobody could say if he leaves in the next, this year plus the 2 years after no cups winning, that he gave every single opportunity to Edmonton to win. I mean, making the most team-friendly deal possible. The guy signed for the same dollar amount he signed 9 years ago or 8 years ago.
Wow.
So he's really given Edmonton a chance to build around him for all these years. And if they don't get it done, I mean, shame on them. But anyways, for this year, I do really like their chances. I mean, it feels like they've upgraded from last year. Obviously, it's a short sample size, but you look like a Mangiapane going 2 for 2 in 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, those kinds of depth players that can slide in anywhere from the first to third line when you got these other amazing players like, two top players in the league, McDavid, Draisaitl, obviously Nugent Hopkins still a force. So you can put key pieces like that and then surround them with some depth, looking really good. I still haven't watched a full game of theirs yet, so I can't really see other than the results right now. But I don't know why they wouldn't be able to come out of the West again since they've done it for the last 2 years when you have the two, like, arguably, well, one best player, possibly second best player in the league. I mean, right then and there. And it's not like they lost anything major to set them back where they just went to the Stanley Cups for 2 years in a row. They could, not easily, but I feel confident enough that the moves they made didn't hurt them. So why wouldn't you believe that they can go back for a third time and possibly get it done?
Yeah, I completely agree. I do think Edmonton has what it takes. Like now with, again, McDavid taking that deal, it's kind of like a Bell Center effect of, all right, our captain took this much. It's going to galvanize the rest of the group to be like, all right, he's showing his belief in us. Let's get it done for him. And like, while we have him, because like you said, if they don't win the next 3 years, he's gone and no one can fault him for that for sure. And I do believe they'll get it done with him there, with Leon. Bouchard has been a proven playoff performer for them offensively anyways. If they can make a few little key additions, like maybe another decent defenseman, and obviously goalie would be a confidence boosting for them. I'm not a huge Skinner guy, few are. But like you said, the Mangiapane pickup was shrewd and is proving to be like a good secondary scoring option. And if one of their two young star prospects, potentially in Ike Howard or Matt Savoie, can come in and be additional scoring threats, like that's a nice little boost building off the team they had last year. And of course, if Hyman comes back and looks pretty solid, I like their chances. And just to touch on LA quickly, Matt, I think LA, like, you look at, obviously Byfield is the next face, like the next potential face of that franchise, but losing Kopitar after this year anyways, and just how their guys are all getting older, I feel like they're a team that could potentially be replaced by an up-and-coming Anaheim. I don't like, Calgary kind of throws me off. Like, are they good? Are they not? They have a bunch, like a mishmash of players, but they're built off the strength of Dustin Wolf, who has proven to be, like, he's the real deal, I think. So we'll see, because Vegas, you have to pencil them in for sure. But I don't really see more. I don't see more than 3 teams making it out of the Pacific. So I think LA would be the team to drop out if they do. Like, they could easily make it. I'm not saying I don't believe in them, but I don't think they've done anything to make themselves a bigger threat in that division, let alone conference. So, like, if they make the playoffs, again, they're losing for the, 6th year in a row to Edmonton.
Well said.
So, yeah, Zach, I mean, thanks a lot for joining us. It's been great to get some of your thoughts on here, and we'll have you on again potentially around the Olympic season if we do a pod around that, some playoff predictions at that point. Always a treat to have you on and share your hockey knowledge. So thanks a lot for joining us, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, fellas, for the quick call. Love the pod.
Yeah,
Always listening.
All right. Appreciate you, dog.
Thank you, Zach.
See ya.
Yeah.
All right. So those were our callers for this first and hopefully not last edition of
That was fun.
Radio Easy Conversations. So yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it a lot. Get some different voices and insights in there. Anything else, Matt, that you want to fire off in terms of the regular season at this point in time? Like, anyone you're looking at in terms of a player to maybe take that next big step? We always look for, in the fantasy world, of course, like that next breakout star. Is there anybody that you've identified or on your team, without, like, we're not going to fully give a breakdown of every single one of our players on our teams, but just anybody that you'd be looking at for this year to have some success?
Yeah. For sure. Every year there's those few players that like explode and come out of nowhere, like go deep. They're not drafted very highly, but they explode in the season, during their season. And I think this year I have myself on my team. I think Cutter Gauthier and Alexei Protas from Washington, Gauthier from Anaheim, can have really, really good seasons. Protas, again, having a good season. But Gauthier had 44 points as a rookie last year on the Ducks. And this year, like, he had 2 goals last night. I'm very optimistic for his season. I think he could do well on an Anaheim team that could score lots. And he gets power play minutes, too. So I think
Cutter Gauthier and Protas from Washington. Maybe Protas is fool's gold, where it's like he's going to look good but not have a overall stellar season just right now. And he did bat above his average last year, but I guess Gauthier would be my guy where it's like, watch out, maybe he can do 70 points this year, like, or score lots. So those are the two guys I want to highlight.
Yeah, no, I love those picks. And yeah, of course, you had Protest last year. He was kind of a hidden gem pickup who was outstanding for you. Like, that was a great one. And I agree with, like, again, both of them. I think Gauthier he's kind of that prime example of why we have the rookie rule in this league, where he was a free keeper for you last year. He got 20 goals, and I don't see a reason why he can't build on that number to around 30 or so goals this year. He's got a shooter's mentality. He's, like you said, getting opportunity, top 6, PP1. They believe highly in him. And if Anaheim is that team that we think could take a step forward this year, he'd be a big reason why they have success. So love that pick. And I think that's someone to keep on your team for at least this year, see how it goes. And unless, like, for some reason, like, falls off tremendously, like, you give him a look for sure, because there's a lot of upside there. Former top 5 pick in 2022, who can forget? So my pick would be, like, and again, I said I'm not going to talk about a whole team here, but my whole team is guys I'm banking on taking next steps. Like, I made borderline moronic picks in this draft, but I stand by some of them. And one of them I think is poised for big breakout year. I reached big time to take him. Logan Cooley on Utah. I think I've kind of compared him to a Marner-esque, where in his first year, 40 or so points, 60 or so the second year. I think third year is the number 1 center for Utah. Point per game is very much on the table. 80 plus points in his third year is my call for Cooley. Think very highly of him. I think he takes off and truly becomes one of the top. Again, same draft year as Gauthier. So they're in that same age range where they are poised for a breakout, and that would be my pick, Logan Cooley. I'm hoping for a big year from him anyways. And again, Utah is another team in general that I would like to see them disrupt a bit in the West, make the playoffs. They're an exciting team, a lot of young talent, and they're just, I think, a fun team to want to root for. So yeah, Cooley is my guy, and the strength of Eazy will depend on him doing exactly what I think he's going to do. So yeah, that's it. And there's going to be other random people that we've never heard of who are going to go pop off at some point. That's the fun of following hockey so closely, is like these new faces coming in and changing also just the keeper landscape in any league, right? Like, who has been a perennial keeper will now become a drop candidate. So it's there's got to be...
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Keeps it fresh, and you do your homework, you're rewarded, you know. If you're on top of it, like, all right, this guy's trending hot right now, pick him up. I love that aspect about our fantasy league, Eric.
Yeah, you and me both.
So what, can you give me like a 30 second to a minute rundown on what happened on that draft night, Eric? Because I wasn't there, and I know what you commented after the draft. Like, what happened? Or is your team a bunch of, like, Logan Cooley's where you're hoping they break out? Is that the reason why you're up, like, a little down, I guess? Or
so there's a few.
Give us a quick rundown.
There's a few things. One is I traded so many of my picks away last year to help me acquire players to win that I didn't pick until the 6th round. So just that, I saw like a bunch of guys that I wanted got picked in those rounds. I didn't have a pick, so that hurt me. And then I just took a bunch of guys with upside who I'm hoping take another step forward. But the problem with that is that a lot of guys that you think, just if you look at their stats and year over year they improve, you just assume, they're going to build on that. That's not how it works. Like, people had looked at Byfield last year, that he was going to really pop off for like 70 or so points, but he pretty much did the same as he had done the year before. So I think that's going to be the same for a lot of my players. Honestly, like, I think it's going to be guys I all think are going to improve, but most of them won't. And that's just how it goes, though. So that's kind of it, is not having the picks and then just taking risky picks at that point, because there's no one who interested me in terms of like maybe more proven guys, like a I'm looking at a Kyrou right now. I'm disgusted that he's on my lineup. Like, the guy just is frustrating to watch. He's kind of like our Batherson. You know, maybe a bit more upside, but so streaky, inconsistent. He has all the skill in the world, but just doesn't put it all together on a night-by-night basis. Where I look at, like, your dad, for example. He went back to his Robert Thomas pick. Like, that's someone who, like, I could see, like, if Stützle can become like a Thomas, consistent 80-point guy, two-way play, and always performs night in, night out, that'd be fantastic. Thomas is one of the most underrated players in the league, in my opinion, who I'm calling it now, like, he should be on the Olympic team for Canada. Like, that's like a perfect third-line center for us. Maybe he gets moved to the wing, but guys like that, it's like, yeah, guys like that who I would have wanted but just went in the higher rounds that I'd traded picks away. How about you? Like, you didn't even draft for yourself, and you got a solid team, first place at the time of recording. Thoughts on how it turned out for you?
Yeah, well, first of all, that can change in an instant. I've known the first place early on. Doesn't mean jack shit. No, I like the team that my father drafted for me, but I know it's going to change. I'm going to definitely, like, I'm not worried about my forwards because those those get changed quickly. I have the Vegas and Seattle goalie, their number one goalie, so I'm happy with that. No complaints right now. You know, it's nice when, like, Suzuki, like, I have Nick Suzuki. He's got a lot of consistent performer, and I think this year he could do even better, so I'm excited. Jack Eichel could do even better with Marner this year. I'm very excited about that. You know, like, I can't complain about Kucherov, Eichel, Suzuki in the top three.
No.
And then Lucas Raymond, who might sneakily have another great season with Detroit, so... No, I'm very optimistic.
Yeah, definitely.
I hadn't realized Eric had traded all those picks. Of course, that's going to make it tough for anybody, right? So you might have to do the same thing again this year to get good players, you know, like trade more picks this year. So that could be a strategy.
Yeah, no, for sure. All options are always on the table. But no, Eichel with Marner, like, I don't think we really touched on this part of the storyline, but I think Marner's going to make magic happen in Vegas. Like, him and Eichel, dynamic duo out there. Pavel Dorofeyev might pop off for 50 with those two guys looking for him on the power play with that lethal shot. So that's a good pick for the Minions 666 in the later rounds. But no, Eichel, so far, he's looked dominant and is potentially going to be the number one center for the States at the Olympics, right? Like, I think that's a true possibility for them over there. So, no, I think Vegas, obviously, are one of the top teams in the league, and with Mitch, the magician, they're poised to do even better potentially. But I hope out of the West, like, actually, that's funnily enough. So the NHL 26 game does a simulation at the start of every year of who's going to win the cup, and they had, for the third straight year in a row, the Oilers losing in the finals to none other than our own Ottawa Senators. So that was their prediction for the year, which I think is a bit ambitious. Like, hey, if that happens, I'm one of the happiest people out here. But, like, that's a big call. I was going to say, like, I would like to see Edmonton win the cup this year. Like, I want to see McDavid win with the Oilers. But if it's at the hands of the Senators, then that is not the case. Then go Sens, go all day, baby. And might have to dust off the keyboard for a Senator's sermon when that time comes. But yeah.
No, I mean, I would love to see Edmonton win too. Ottawa or Edmonton, obviously. Edmonton's a team I cheer for in the West.
Yeah, 100%. But no, that was pretty much it that I had for the season in terms of outlook. Was there anything else you wanted to go over, Matt?
No, just I'm super excited to watch the Sens this year, and no, I think there's going to be a lot of upside and we should have a lot of optimism. I'm also going to make an effort to go to more games this year because it's super exciting live, and I think they're going to be really, really fun to watch. I had a lot of fun last year watching them, so I think we're just trending upwards right now, so it's a super exciting time.
Agreed. It's fitting that this episode is dropping on the Sens home opener game, which I will be at when this drops. So you can get your pregame fix with the episode and then tune in at 1:08, possibly 1:13 when the puck drops. You'll be ready to roll. And then you can tune back in for the random recommendation segment that we can segue into now. So, Matt, is there anything that you've been consuming these days that you'd like to share with the listeners, viewers on YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a little different. I'm going to save the meat of my movies for the next episode,
Nice.
but I will recommend something non-movie related. I'm going to recommend watching the Toronto Blue Jays right now. They're in the semifinals of the league, essentially. They're in the conference finals against the Seattle Mariners. As of when this episode dropped, they would have played their first game already, but they would also be playing the day this drops at 5 o'clock. So after the Sens game, watch the Blue Jays game at 5.
Nice.
Super exciting time right now if you're a baseball fan and a Blue Jays fan, because they're looking really strong, guys. And there's something about the Blue Jays this year in the dugout, their chemistry, their mojo, their oomph. Like they're gelling really well right now. They're having fun, but playing super well. And it's not one individual. It's all of them are playing well together. It's not just the superstars. But yeah, I don't want to turn this up baseball pod, but very exciting time to watch them right now. And even if you're not a baseball fan, it's the final 4 teams in the league, and it's going to be exciting. And the stakes are going to be super high, and Rogers Center just buzzing right now, super loud. Very fun time to watch. I watched almost every game this year, guys, 162 baseball games, and only to see them do this right now in the playoffs, it's beautiful to watch. It's really fun to watch, guys. So the Toronto Blue Jays, I recommend watching them in this coming week. There's going to be a game Monday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So It should be fun.
No, I mean, you've truly done your due diligence as a fan, and you reaping the benefits right now, seeing your club dominate and just have ultimate success. Hopefully, the ultimate success in the playoffs. And that's awesome, Matt. And I haven't really been watching much. I've been aware of what's going on, and I think now ALCS time, it might be the moment to tune in a little bit and partake in the hopefully festivities as a fan, but just cheer for Canada's team. And that's what's great also about the Blue Jays, that it's Canada's team, right? It unites us from West Coast all the way to East Coast, which, not to get off the Blue Jays here, but I'm going to segue into my recommendation as well, which Andy and I just got back from our trip out east to Nova Scotia, Halifax and Cape Breton, where we spent the bulk of our time was in the latter, Cape Breton. Strong recommend for anybody who's looking to venture out and keep their travels more local in the east end of Canada. Was absolutely breathtaking, especially with the fall foliage, the leaves changing colors. We drove out there, so it was a road trip vibe for us. Just salt of the earth people out there. Great, again, approachable folks. You got breathtaking views in terms of the oceans right there, mountains. We did a lot of hiking, and then just absolutely incredible seafood. There wasn't a day where lobster wasn't on the menu for both of us, and we never got sick of it. Those lobster rolls were worth the price of admission, and it was unlike any seafood we've ever had in our lives before. So huge recommend, honestly. Either drive or fly down, but having the car and then being able to go to Cape Breton especially was so nice. We stayed in multiple different Airbnbs around the island, so got to see the whole thing. And strong recommend. One of my favorite places I've been to in general, honestly, and probably in Canada for sure. So huge recommend. And Halifax was a great vibe as well. It has the big city feel, but also you got the wharf right there as well. You're on the water. Les Voiliers all everywhere. You can see the Blue Nose 2 in Lunenburg, which is on the dimes if you're a Canadian listener. So a lot of cool stuff out there. Huge recommend, Matt.
Well, I'm glad you had a great trip, Eric. Great food, nature at your front door. What more can you ask for in a trip?
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a good time. I remember loving the East Coast. I never made it to Cape Breton, though, so I got to check that out eventually. Put that on my bucket list.
Would recommend.
Glad you had a great trip, man. That's awesome to hear. I'm just going to recommend one more thing. I've been watching the TV show that came out this year, Dexter Resurrection. So I finished Dexter New Blood, and this one picks up right after the last Dexter
season of Nubla, which was like 3-4 years ago. It's great so far. Honestly, it's highly rated, so I was like a bit skeptical, like, oh, is this maybe overrated? Its rating online, but like right now it's really picking up. I'm almost halfway through the season. I love the character of Dexter so much, and the situation they put him in New York City right now is really cool. That's all I'll say. If the pace of the show keeps up to what it is now, it's gonna be hard to put off my top 10. So yeah, Dexter Resurrection. I highly recommend it if you're a Dexter fan.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I remember you were talking about, I think, last episode or the one before that this was on your radar. So I'm glad that it has not disappointed thus far, and that it's just one of the potential top shows of the year. So love to hear that. I'll also recommend one show and call it there. So show that's in its 5th season actually on a network that has seemed to have a lot of products that are 1 or 2 seasons. This one's a staple associated to the brand of Apple TV, which would be Slow Horses, season 5. Really good stuff. Yet again, this show is so consistent with the MI5 spy thriller genre, led by Gary Oldman as the main character, Jackson Lamb. Always a step ahead of the park and the ones that are kind of running the show. He's kind of going rogue, does his own thing with his gang of misfits who are in the thick of things with conspiracy theories. This season is really focusing on kind of political violence and how youths, especially in Britain in this case, have been radicalized, and there's a lot of violence that is kind of relevant to today. So it makes it a scary season, honestly, in terms of how politics have been weaponized, and you're seeing extremists. So scary, but really well handled so far, and thankfully there is a lot of humor in this show as well, led by Gary Oldman, who's absolutely hysterical as Jackson Lamb. So yeah, Slow Horses season 5. I'm 2 episodes in right now, but the quality is as consistent as it's ever been. And again, the content matter is more relevant than ever. So I think it's a must watch in terms of Apple TV shows and just shows in general. So yeah, Slow Horses season 5 off to scary good start so far.
Damn, I hear great things about this show, Eric, and I haven't watched an episode yet, but I don't know if I'll be able to watch season 5 for the end of this year because I'm going to have to watch the first 4, but it's definitely on my list. Peacemaker, Slow Horses. I got to start like from the beginning basically, but maybe a show I can watch with Mackenzie actually. She likes spy thrillers, she likes that type of show, and she likes who doesn't like Gary Oldman? So no, that's interesting.
Guy's just
Slow
farting
Horses,
his way through every
things.
scene. Yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's all I would have for right now. Get out there to Cape Breton and then get on Slow Horses, Matt.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's all what I've recommended is all I've got until next episode. And I don't know, I think our recommendations were a little different than usual, but I think they're very pertinent right now. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Matt, it's a lot of fun to go over the Sens and then a few other teams in there as well. Looking forward to the season. Go Sens, go. Hopefully we got a dub at the home opener tomorrow. Matt, any final notes for the listeners?
I want to thank everybody for listening. Eric, I had a great talk with you today. I love talking Sens with you, and I hope that we could, after the season, have an even better analysis on if we were right or wrong. And I can't wait to see how it develops, basically. Thank you, everybody who called in. That was really fun, by the way. That live call-in segment, that was excellent. I definitely think we should revisit that. So thank you, Justin, Mike, and Zach. And yeah, everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast. And I had really fun time talking with you today, Eric.
Yeah, well said, Matt. We'll definitely be revisiting that format down the road again for sure. Again, Mike, Justin, Zach, thanks a lot for calling in. I appreciate the insight. It was a lot of fun chopping it up with you guys. Matt, as per usual, always a pleasure. And yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Continue to enjoy now. Let's go Blue Jays. Enjoy the fall months. Yeah, Halloween episode coming up next. And yeah, peace.